is what democracy looks like. That's not what democracy looks like. This is what democracy looks like. That's not what democracy looks like. This is what democracy looks like. That's not what democracy looks like. This is what democracy looks like. That's not what democracy looks like. This is what democracy looks like. That's not what democracy looks like. This is what democracy looks like. That's not what democracy looks like. This is what democracy looks like. That's not what democracy looks like. This is what democracy looks like. That's not what democracy looks like. This is what democracy looks like. That's not what democracy looks like. This is what democracy looks like. That's not what democracy looks like. This is what democracy looks like.
That is what hypocrisy looks like.
This is what democracy looks like. Show me what democracy looks like. This is what democracy looks like. That's not what democracy looks like. This is what democracy looks like.
That is what hypocrisy looks like.
This is what democracy looks like.
That's not what democracy looks like.
This is what democracy looks like.
That is what democracy
Will never be defeated. People united 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 will never be defeated. People united. Hey, ho ho. Rick Scott has got to go. Hey, hey, ho ho. Rick Scott has got to go. Hey, hey, ho ho. Rick Scott
trying to work within is 2 to 3 minutes. So that's
all four of them.
Clarifying question. If we have this game before we leave or whatever, if we voted on music, does that necessarily
It's what we voted on.
that's not
true.
Oh, right. Not all of them. So it was.
Do you have anybody else?
And you like our categories best.
Does anybody else want to volunteer for this? Yes, no, maybe? No? Okay, problem solved. Go.
Okay, so can we come to consensus on splitting the document into 4 pieces?
Yeah.
Any major opposition to that? Wonderful. Okay, so we have 4 speakers. Okay, so we have 4 speakers. We can split this fairly into 4 pieces and go on to the other side of the building.
Can I suggest that we let the 4 speakers decide what order they go in and perhaps
It isn't that hard.
Does everyone have a document?
Let's make it simple. Not here.
Time for the people of Florida to wake up. And you know what? I think we got them awake last year in March when we had our first Awake the State rally, and we had people in like 15 areas of this state talking about the fact that we're fed up with the unfairness of the economic policies that are going on right behind us. This capital does not belong to the richest 1% of Floridians. The only time the people in charge behind you in the Capitol ever pass a tax break, it's not for you and I and the 99%, it's for the 1%. And we're fed up and we're not going to take it anymore. Thank you all so much for coming. And I'd like to also introduce our co-organizer today, Tabitha Frazier, and you'll hear from her in just a few minutes. But first of all, to welcome you to the capital city, one of the greatest city commissioners in the whole United States of America, Commissioner Andrew Gillum.
Anybody awake out there? Anybody awake out there? Is anybody fired up? If anybody remembers 2008, the response is ready to go. Fired up? Ready to go. Fired up? Ready to go. Fired up? Ready to go. On behalf of myself, as a Tallahassee City Commissioner, I want you all to know my heart is filled with joy to welcome you here to the capital city, Tallahassee, Florida. FAMU, FSU, TCC, the community at large, folks from Jacksonville, South Florida, all around this state. Miami, Tampa, Gainesville, Florida. We got Orlando in the house. But I just stopped by real quickly to say, as a person who, like Barbara, is fed up with what's happening here in the state of Florida, sick and tired of what we're experiencing at the state level by the folks who are right behind us convening, the people who have made teachers the enemy of this state, the people who have made firefighters and police officers and public servants the enemy of this state. I read this morning that the great John Thrasher is sponsoring a bill a bill that says that individuals who work for the university, professors, should not be allowed to run for public office and serve here in the Florida legislature. And do you want to know why? He says that he doesn't think it's right for people to be deciding about their salaries of their bosses. And again, this from a man who made millions of dollars shopping policies of the radical and extreme right and corporations down here at the legislature, has the conscience to tell us that he doesn't believe professors should be serving in the legislature. This, however, from a party who had a House Speaker who lobbied and created his job at a university in this state and was thrown out of office for having done so. This from a party right here in the state of Florida, where they every single day to work. They work hard and they are finding the American dream further and further and further out of reach. And it's out of reach because of policies that are being promulgated, that are being pushed by people who don't believe that we should have access to power, who are more interested in reserving power for the top 1% than they are for the 99% of us who are working hard to make a living for ourselves and for our families. And that ain't right. It's not right here in the state of Florida, and it's not right federally. And we see it happening every single place we look, every single place we turn. The one thing that I hope that this movement evolves into, however, is not just us showing up on the opening day of the Florida legislature, but when we go back to our communities that we are vetting and developing candidates who are going to run for office and challenge the people who are every day standing up against the 99% of us. If this movement ends, if this movement is content with showing up and sleeping out and showing up for days like this but not going back to register voters and turn those voters out and protect those voters when they show up at the ballot box, then this will all be for naught. You have to transform this energy into a movement that moves past individual politicians and starts to recapture our government. That is our responsibility. That is our job. Is what, in the words and in the thoughts of Dr. Martin Luther King, this moment of urgency is about. This is not about cameras. This is not about a popular movement. This is about preserving the future and the things that our foreparents worked so hard to preserve. The things that they fought for and died for and worked and labored for and sweat and cried for. Those are the things that we are protecting. And last but not least, folks, the one thing that irritates me most is when I hear people say that you all, us, are somehow customers of government. Because the difference is that customers are people who pay a fee and they expect a service in return. We're not some big business where you have customers. You know what you are? You're citizens. And citizens have a responsibility to show up and be involved and demand things of their government. And when they don't get it, they participate, they run for office, they take people out who aren't representing their best interests and don't have their best interests at heart. All right? And so if anybody is fired up like I'm fired up today, if anybody is ready to move beyond simple protests and start to take over the government and return it to its rightful owners, the people, I want you all to show up and register to vote. I want you all to turn out on election day. I want you to show up when these bills start being floated in this chamber behind us that is intended to destroy our very way of life. Our very way of life. You've got to write your letters to the editor. You've got to show up at the legislative offices and let them know that you plan to be heard. You've got to vote, people. And you know what? Politicians aren't perfect, but politics are about choices. And the choices right now in this country are stark and they are clear. You have people who believe that gays and lesbians shouldn't enjoy the same equal rights that the rest of us enjoy. There are people who believe that young people shouldn't have access to the ballot box. There are people who believe that healthcare is not a right, that it's a privilege for those who can afford it. And so if you have a different view about what this nation is about and what democracy is and what we stand for, then it's your job, it's your obligation to stand up, be counted, and show out. All right? Anybody fired up? Fired up? Fired up? Fired up? Let's not just be fired up, folks. Let's make it happen. and we can do it. This is our state, this is our nation, and it's our job to take it back in 2012.